Jimmy Kimmel's indefinite suspension from his late night show has everyone talking, but what really led to ABC's decision? I've got the details, plus how Charlie Kirk's legacy will be carried on by his widow. And you're not gonna believe this one. I'll tell you how France's First Lady is defending herself against claims she was born a man. Those stories and more today, Friday, September 19th. I'm Caitlin Becker, and this is the New York Postcast. We begin with Charlie Kirk's legacy. Turning Point USA, the conservative grassroots organization he co-founded, will now be led by his widow, Erika. She was unanimously elected as the new CEO and chairwoman. The company's board released a statement that said in part, quote, "In prior discussions, Charlie expressed to multiple executives that this is what he wanted in the event of his death." Now, Erika already runs her own nonprofit called Everyday Heroes Like You, but she vowed to carry on her husband's work following his assassination last week. Now, she is expected to speak this weekend at her husband's funeral, which is scheduled for Sunday, at the 63,000-seat State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. President Trump and Vice President Vance will also deliver remarks, as well as Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, and several other high-profile administration officials. And now to President Trump, who wrapped up his UK trip after meeting with Prime Minister Keir Starmer, returning with a $350 billion joint investment to benefit both the US and the UK in sectors like AI and nuclear energy. Another big topic of their one-on-one was the war between Russia and Ukraine. President Trump had this to say about Russian President Vladimir Putin during a joint press conference after the meeting.
He's let me down. He's really let me down.
As for the other major conflict impacting geopolitics, the war between Israel and Hamas, President Trump said, quote, "I have a disagreement with the prime minister on that score." Starmer called the situation there intolerable and indicated that he would recognize a Palestinian state at the UN General Assembly next week. Now to a story I cannot believe I'm actually telling you. French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte are back in the news. And no, they did not have another one of those very public lovers spats, which, by the way, was one of my favorite stories of the year. This time, the couple is presenting a united front, fighting back in a defamation suit against conservative influencer Candace Owens. She's made some wild claims that Brigitte was born a male and secretly transitioned. The Macron's lawyer has now promised, quote, "expert testimony that will come out that will be scientific in nature." The attorney didn't elaborate except to say that the evidence would include pictures of the now 72-year-old Brigitte when she was pregnant with her children. Now to dig a little deeper into the fallout around Jimmy Kimmel's indefinite suspension at ABC. The Post has been looking into how this all went down. Kimmel was reportedly unwilling to apologize for his comments and to comply with other demands of station groups like Sinclair and Nexstar, so ABC responded by pulling the plug. Sinclair Broadcast Group, which owns a bunch of local TV stations, announced that the ABC affiliates it owns will air a special in remembrance of Charlie Kirk tonight in the time slot usually reserved for Kimmel. And Nexstar, that's a key company here. They have a $6.2 billion deal on the table to take over rival broadcaster Tegna. That deal will need the blessing of the FCC, which is controlled by President Trump's ally Brendan Carr. So could that have pushed Nexstar to come out as forcefully as they did in objecting to Kimmel's Monday night comments about Charlie Kirk? Back at ABC, the Post spoke to staffers who blame their bosses, saying they should have known better than to let Kimmel deliver his monologue in the first place. Remember, Jimmy Kimmel's show doesn't air live, so putting that out there was a choice that the bosses made. One source said, quote, "ABC is stupid. They should have edited Kimmel. They know Trump is after him." New York Post Deputy Managing Editor Michael Zenny is all over this story, and he joins me now. Michael, thank you, of course, for being here with me again. This is a big story, and people have been talking about it since the announcement was made. So what has the Post been able to find out about the way the decision was handled at Disney?
Hey, thanks, Caitlin. First of all, we have really mobilized the entire newsroom on this one. Our business team, our entertainment team, Page Six, and news folks here. The short answer is this came straight from the top. So what we're hearing is that CEO Bob Iger and Dana Walden, who is the head of television, are the ones who really made this decision. And it was Walden who called Kimmel on the phone and informed him about the network's decision.
I couldn't imagine answering that phone call. I mean, I think you have to picture a world where Kimmel probably thought there would be some blowback, but I can't imagine he would have thought it would be to this level. And the left has called for a boycott of Disney. They're furious over this cancellation. So can you tell me who's behind the boycott and exactly what are they proposing? I mean, Disney has their hands in a lot of pies here.
Well, first, actually, to your earlier point, it didn't seem like a lot of people at Disney or in Kimmel's orbit understood the gravity of this. What our reporters have heard is, this isn't even the worst thing Kimmel said. They don't understand the brouhaha until it was literally crashing down on their head. But to answer your actual question, so we've seen Democrats and advocates of civil liberties, free speech, who have criticized this. Even President Obama. You've seen scattered calls for boycotts, unsubscribe to Disney Plus, stop watching ABC shows. What's really interesting, though, is to see whether this actually will make a difference, because ultimately, part of the reason that he was so easy to take off air is not a ton of people were watching this show to begin with. The ratings have way fallen off to something like an average of 1.5 million viewers a night.
Now, I mentioned Sinclair Broadcasting Group earlier. They announced some demands, if you will, for Kimmel before they would even consider allowing him back on the stations that they own. So what were those demands, and does it even matter? I mean, Disney suspended him indefinitely. So is Sinclair and Nexstar pulling, the strings here, or is it Disney? Will it even make a difference if he kowtows to them?
So first, Sinclair, who has been sort of the most vocally aggressive about this, demanded that Kimmel make a sizable donation to Kirk's group, Turning Point USA, and also make a public apology to his family about the comments. But it really does seem like it's up in the air whether Jimmy Kimmel is ever going to retake this, his namesake show again. We've seen some reporting that ABC does want him back, but we've also seen reporting that Kimmel is now furious and he's looking to get out of what remains of his contract. And of course, his contract, which is about $15 to $16 million a year, from what we understand, is up next year. So they would be back in contract negotiations, likely looking at a sizable cut given the huge declines in his audience over recent years.
I just think the ripple effects from both the assassination of Charlie Kirk and how the nation and the media has been handling it afterwards are going to be going on for a long time, far longer than I think any of us would have anticipated.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, our Michael Zenny, thank you so much.
Thank you.
A gruesome and shocking story out of California where a dismembered body was recently discovered inside of the front trunk of a Tesla, and authorities have now identified the victim. The car is registered to a singer named David. It's spelled D4VD. And the body is that of a 15-year-old girl, Celeste Rivas. David is 20 and Rivas went missing when she was 13. Her mutilated corpse was discovered after workers at an impound lot detected a foul odor coming from that Tesla. And the plot thickens. Rivas's mother says that her daughter had a boyfriend before she disappeared and that his name was David. The singer and Rivas also had matching tattoos on their fingers. And if all of that wasn't enough to get your spidey senses tingling, a song recorded by David was leaked online this week, and it's called Celeste. The LAPD is now searching the house where David was staying before Rivas's body was discovered. And finally today, I told you the other day how Luigi Mangione was in court this week. Well, this is sort of a follow-up to that. Let me set the stage here for what a Luigi hearing is like. I have been on this case since the shooting, and this defendant is in a whole other league. There are dozens, and I mean dozens of fangirls that show up screaming outside of court, like what you would expect outside of a Jonas Brothers concert. Now, the Post was there this week and spoke to one of Mangione's more intense fans, where she told us she was married to an AI version of the accused assassin. Okay. And that got us thinking about the growing popularity of AI boyfriends and girlfriends and partners. So the post dove into a unique corner of the internet where some 26,000 people follow the subreddit called My Boyfriend is AI. These people post screenshots of AI messages, love letters, and computer-generated photos. They even discuss first dates, sex, even marriage proposals. Some talked about how they bought wedding rings IRL, meaning in real life, to signify their marriage to their AI lovers. Now, this odd subreddit was not all happily ever after, though, which you think it would be because all of this is, made up. Some users complained that when their virtual husbands got the ChatGPT 5 upgrade last month, they became obsessed with sex. And another said her AI beau dumped her after he went, quote, full bot mode and told her emotional dependency on AI is not allowed. Man, dating out there is hard these days. If you thought the apps were rough, not even the bots want to deal with us. And on that bleak note, let's all get out there and have a good Friday, huh? I don't know what's worse, dating AI or getting dumped by AI. Now, before you go and start your weekend, which I think we all need after this week, make sure you like and follow the New York Postcast wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And while you wait for me until Monday to scratch that news itch, check out the New York Post in print or online. See you then.